It's the end of the year show. Y'all have came and landed with us for a whole year. Now it's time to review it and look forward to the next year on the other side. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the South Star Classroom. That's Jubilee. That's David. I am Charles. Omar is away, but he is with us in spirit. Love our brother and talked to him earlier, sending him goodwill wishes. He can update you all when he gets back. Before we get started, because this is some other guest host favorite part, we're gonna do a quick check-in. Yeah. How you? My check-in is I'm good. I'm here. Boom. Jubilee, how you doing?
I am doing very well. I am good, and I am here in the beautiful islands of Aruba. I am enjoying the sun, the sand, the oceans, and all the good things. So, here spending some quality time with my mom, and yeah, looking forward to an amazing holiday season.
I think that's beautiful. You know, when we was doing pre-production, y'all might not be able to see. I'm gonna give her the screen and make her bigger. She actually had a really great view in like 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago, the view was great, but I told you it'd be pitch black before we got into it. But it's all good. David, how you doing, brother?
I am good. I'm not as good as Jubilee. I'm not in Aruba.
San Diego's close.
It's close, yeah, sure. Yeah. But yeah, doing good. We're officially on winter break. So you know, kind of going into that mode, getting ready for next week. Slowing down a little bit, but also getting caught up with several of my clients. You know, when you're working alongside a leadership team or a board, you know, the closer you are to the ground, the work is just very intense for people. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, we can never work at the speed that we want to work at. We have to go slow to go fast. And so when we have these breaks, it's always a good time to just kind of, you know, reconnect with people, get caught up. Like, what can we get done in the next 3 weeks that, you know, we've been trying to get done, but we couldn't because of the pace of the work. So looking forward to getting both caught up, and then, you know, looking forward to the second half of the year. So
that's what's up, yeah, man. Well, happy to hear that, and I definitely get you on, you know, just that piece around work. Me and you working on a project. I'm sure you got bombarded with emails from me today.
I did, yeah.
To get
good
caught up on some stuff. So, and then Jubilee, you'll be getting some in the next coming days. But you in Aruba, you ain't got to really worry about it. I'm just planned out with how these things happen and all that stuff, man. But listen, it's been a crazy year. It could have been fulfilling. It could have been hectic. However you think. I think, you know, in the spirit of the check-in, let's just reflect on this year. It could be reflecting on how the year was for you personally. It could be in the world of education. It could be wherever you want. I didn't want to just have topics and we just, you know, we'd fight. Here's some inside baseball for people listening. We try to think of ways every week to just like be able to engage in conversation without it feeling like a panel. We kind of letting that back. I think just kind of reflecting on the year, you know, kind of forces us to do that just a little bit. So, but why don't we do that? I'm giving you the right to refusal, just because, you know, my mentor, my tutor, all that good stuff. So you can go or pass it, but
I'm happy to go
wherever you want.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so this year has been interesting. Still, it's still you know, it feels like every year we're still kind of climbing out of the pandemic, and then you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But I think overall this year, I mean, we'll talk about some of these big stories that we've covered. But I think number one, I'm glad that we're still doing this podcast, it helps me to kind of, it gives me like not only a weekly connection with you all, but a weekly opportunity to just kind of process all the news that I'm seeing, right, in and around education. Like education, 4 years ago, nobody was talking about education, and now it is such a big topic, right?
Right.
And so you're seeing a lot of stories and headlines, et cetera, et cetera. I think on the personal front, I don't know if it's a result of the pandemic or a change in lifestyle or the fact that we moved from Northern California to Southern California, but I've definitely like cut out a lot of noise in my life, and I feel like and that's good. And so I'm just more focused on my health, family, work. I'm still grateful to be energized by work, right? And so I have a variety of existing clients and some new ones that are coming on board in January, and it's all work that I'm really excited about. So I'm excited to still be able to have that kind of an impact. I'm also again happy that we're still doing the show, and I want us to think about 2024 and what that means for the show, what we're going to do differently, what we're going to keep doing, what we're going to stop doing, because I still feel like we have this great opportunity in front of us. And I know these things take time, but yeah, I mean, I think that kind of sums up the year.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. We'll start there. And like I said, we'll keep going around. Ju, what's a big reflection point for you for 2023? And go wherever you want to with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I spent time just reflecting on just, my place in this big world of education, and then this big world of being, a creative, a singer-songwriter. And I think what I've learned about myself is that the passion is still there. This is a year 20 officially for me. And I have had a lot of conversations with people who have transitioned out of the profession, out of the sector, because, I mean, for many, reasons that make sense, that they just don't necessarily feel like they're able to move things and make impact or what have you. But I still feel like for myself, I still have this glimmer of hope, this fire of passion that's like, you know what, I'm going to stay here and figure out how I can get the ball rolling and really continue to make some change. And I've been reflecting on the fact that finding a solution, it just isn't hard. I just think that, as a country and as a sector, I don't know that we listen to the voices that really should be informing our decision makings. And I see that, all too often. And I think that's what makes me just want to stay around. It's like, what would happen if we actually listened to children? What would happen if we actually listened to principals and teachers and parents? What would our education system look like? And when I order a package from Amazon, say what you want about Amazon and who used to own it and what they stand for and all of that. But there are certain corporations that have figured out the essence of effective customer service. I'm just saying, in the year of 2023, why has that yet to become transferable in the ed sector, right? Our children, our reasons, right? I don't necessarily want to call them clients or customers, but that's what we're doing all of this for, so that our country isn't a hot mess 10 years from now, 20 years from now. But for whatever reason, we're not hearing them, and we're not learning from different corporations and different sectors how we can be a better service to the most precious in our society. So that's kind of where my mind is on my initial thoughts.
That's what's up. And we can all comment on that too if you want. We should have commented on yours too, David. So just to kind of make it more conversational. But that's what's up, man. I think just listening to you on that though, what would you say has been a highlight in that for you? And then I'll ask you, David, before I do my reflection. I should have asked you then. What's been a big highlight for you though?
for, you mean like in my work and education this year?
Just whatever. Like, I mean, because you start off with some, and we kind of went in a few different places on it. But like, what was the thing that might have made you smile the most, whether it's personal or in this education realm?
I mean, I think the thing that makes me smile the most are my children, right? Like seeing that they are becoming these well-balanced, well-rounded human beings. And seeing their experience, right, having transitioned from New York to Maryland, it also makes me frown because it's a reminder that we have many public systems that are archaic, they are not progressive, and they are not designed or centered around children. They're centered around adults, they're centered around unions. So it's like the same thing that gives me great joy also grieves me, you know? But I would say just, you know, seeing that there are many skills that my sons have that were built in New York City and caused them to really be ahead of the game when they came down here was great. But at the same time, there were many things about them that weren't acknowledged, right? I'm like, listen, you give them a gifted and talented test. I don't even believe in that, right? I'm like, as a teacher, you should differentiate, find out where the kid is and meet them where they are, all right? They didn't want to do that. Halfway through the year, it's like, oh, Miss Ransom, we have an open seat in gifted and talented. It's like, but I told you guys that in the beginning that they had what it took to be in there, right? So it's just like my parent voice and like raising my sons and the education they had was great. And then in this system that we've experienced, like in Maryland, it's kind of the opposite. I don't see it being valued and I don't see it making change. And so that, like I said, that's the passion that I have to like figure out, how do I go about making change in this system where I am?
That's what's up.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. I would say for you to open it up to you, David, if you want to comment on hers, and then I wanted to just ask you what your favorite thing was for the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think mine is actually quite similar, and it's less about like the year, but more about the like the last 3 years. You know, since we've moved, so Jubilee's also moved, and when you move, everything, especially if you have kids, everything changes. You know, it's like you kind of have to restart and kind of re-gauge everything from like, you know, where you're going to shop, where you're going to live, where your kids are going to go to school. And it's not always, you know, some things might be better and some things, you know, were better, you know, in the place that you left. And so when we moved, we started middle school. And I will tell you, it's been, you know, there are definitely criticisms. But for the most part, I feel like you know, son's got a good education, a decent education. The school is well managed. They're good communicators, and like, you know, we're almost done. So this is the point. Like we're looking at high schools right now. You know, we've been in San Diego almost 3 years, and he's got another half a year of 8th grade left, and then like we're on to high school. So, you know, the fact that it happened very quickly is a good thing, because like when you're grinding through it, anything, you know, it just feels like time is standing still. And so I think that's a big highlight for this year for sure. And we also transitioned from one of those like Android fully locked down, no browser cell phones.
Okay.
And we just, my son just got an iPhone. So we've crossed that barrier.
Oh.
And, you know, we kind of held off as long as we could. He's 13. He's going to be 14. And, you know, so slowly stepping into like the social media world and like helping him navigate all that. I still got that iPhone on lockdown, but still. Yeah.
Yeah, he's stepping into it. I've been stepping out of it. I think good transition. I think that's one of my highlights. I think leaving a lot of social media, leaving the Facebook, leaving Instagram, and sorry if it hurt the show a little bit, but it just wouldn't make me happy. Like I said, I negotiated with people that I work with. I kept Twitter and I kept YouTube. I think I technically have a TikTok, so I don't do nothing with it. But I think that was one of the highlights. I think it just was a freedom, man, and not being tethered to that stuff. And you know, that stuff is built to make you an addict and addicted to it. I'm telling you, one day it's gonna happen. Like people are gonna study this and they're gonna be like, y'all just let kids go on this thing. What is wrong with y'all? Like the same way when, you know, you hear about Freud and giving his patients cocaine. Like it is, it is gonna be, it's gonna go the way of the dodo in some ways at some point. Which, by the way, I read that they're trying to bring the dodo bird back in Africa. Right? Interesting. People playing God with dodo birds. They died for a reason. The point that I'm making is
the dodo bird. When did the dodo bird? When was it extinct? When did it go extinct?
I don't know. I feel like it was like before any of us was here, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But you know, they
why?
Hey man, listen, I mean, but I think that's one of the highlights. I think the other highlight is like, you know, like I said, I think I just been on this thing about freedom and just trying to, you know, do work the way that I want to do it, work with whom I want to work with, moving on beyond some things and growing some other things. And like, you know, the relationships that I do have, the few, you know, just like cultivating those. I think this podcast is one of them. I'm glad to hear that, you know, you're happy that we're still doing it and being able to have this kind of place to have those talks. And then just the projects that I get to kind of choose and work on in addition to my work. I enjoy it. And I just enjoy, like, I got to spend a lot of good time alone when I appreciate it. I think that's just kind of the space that I just been in. I like traveling alone. I like checking out restaurants and stuff like that. First off, it's a lot cheaper, but I like it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
But it's a lot cheaper. But I enjoy me, man. I enjoy me. And I think you know, and like I said, shout out to actually to Jube and her mom. I think it's really dope that they do these mother-daughter trips and that they kind of keep it popping and keep it live. I think that's really cool, man. A lot of people can't go do that with their mom. You know what I'm saying? And because they're not here. And a lot of moms is here, but they don't want to go on vacation with them. So you winning in a bunch of different ways. But though I would say those are just some of the highlights. And as I, you know, start thinking about what I want to do for 2024, I don't know if there's anything that people want to like ask or pry in or whatever. We you know, I did that to y'all, so y'all can do it to me. It's fine. Make it conversational.
Yeah.
What
So
you
what's your what are your aspirations for 2024? What do you got on your short list?
I think doing things a bit better, doing things and being more potent in it. I feel like, and in my companies, like, you know, just being able to spread that out more and take on bigger jobs, but also with the people that I work with, not necessarily the energy converter side too, there's growth there, but like the consulting side, the stuff that we've done some things on together, like getting to a place, realizing that I don't have to be instrumental in every single part of it. Like growing to a point where I don't have to do every single thing. Like there could be projects where I'm partnering with you or Jubilee or Kamar or somebody like that, and like they can run that part of the race and transitioning from, this is what I'm looking for. You know what? Let's just be all the way real. Transitioning from like the mindset of like always in survival mode or always like thinking like just a poverty mindset that I grew up in where scarcity is like the thing, and really starting to operate in a new place. I posted this. I don't know if you saw it, that damn social media, but I do plan on writing this with some wine and maybe a cigar.
Post that on the Instagram that you don't have?
It's not on Instagram. It is on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on Twitter. I do have Twitter. I do not have Instagram. And I thought I would miss it. I don't miss it at all. I don't miss random people I've not heard from in years sending me random messages. Not even a little bit. Social media in my mind just makes everybody way too accessible. And I feel like you should have to be my friend or know me or we're in some type of communication to have access to me. That's just me. But what I was writing though, what'd you say, Jude?
I say, you know, you could do a private page.
I mean, or you can do no page. It's like, or
I mean, that's kind of swinging all the way from one side. But hey, you know what?
Listen, man. Look, some people quit cigarettes in months and you know and whittle down. Some people go cold turkey. I actually don't miss it. I do not miss it.
I get it.
The only struggle is there's people on my team that are very much trying to push me to reactivate it just for business purposes. It does help, but people used to make money without social media, so damn it, we got to figure it out. Like this thing did not always exist. and I don't like being all that damn social. But what I wrote was, you know, I have learned in the neighborhoods that I grew up in, and David, I heard a lot about how you grew up, Jube. You I can assume, but I don't know. But like I learned a lot about survival. I learned a lot about like how to like make it, like how to like, you know, work things out or whatever. But there was never really a blueprint or a rule book around when you actually get successful or whatever that means. Like, what does it mean? How do you be successful? What does it mean to be a young black man successful? What does it mean to be, you know, a brown man who's now a father and husband to be successful, or a black woman? Like, what are those rules? Because that's not some stuff that got passed down. Like, you know, splitting a little bit on this bill and then paying this bill, that got passed down. Being resilient got passed down. But being comfortable with success or learning how to like be in harmony with it, like, you know what I'm saying? And because there's been parts where good things were happening and potentially could have been happening, but it just felt like such a burden. Like I've killed certain deals, I've killed certain, you know, relationships and things like that, just because I just wasn't comfortable with it. It didn't make me very comfortable. So I think that's one of the things I'm looking forward to in 2024. What does it look like to actually walk in that?
Yeah.
And not deny or deprive myself in those ways while still doing really good work that I care about and doing it the way that I want. And I want to put out some more bangers. I want to put out some more reports and articles and create the type of content and things that I want and not be a slave to like how many people are watching this or how many people care. It's not, I've never really been that person, but this stuff will change you. I've had success in this space and, you know, walked away from it. And shout out to all those brothers too, that I've done really good stuff with, but I like the intimate nature of what we do. I appreciate that. And you don't fully appreciate it till it's not there in that same way. So,
yeah,
you know, that's what I would say.
I think the one thing that you see your comments are making me think about the idea of, so we're all like, you know, we all have our work lives, right? We all do what we do for revenue. And I think the one thing that I've been thinking about, I think particularly because of an experience I've had with a client where we're able to tap into this kind of like generational resources of young people that we worked with in high school that went on to college and now they're in the work world, and we're able to pull them back in to support, you know, different organizations, and we know who these people are. And so along with that comes the kind of, you know, mentorship, right? You're not just giving somebody a job, but you're also providing some level of mentorship. And so I think for this next year, one thing that I'm thinking about is, you know, there's like the formal, you know, networks that do this kind of thing, the EdLux, the this, the that, you know, different fellowships here and there. But I'm just thinking about like the four of us, right? And the networks that we have. I'm thinking about myself and how I can pull in and better use my time to do work in a way that does number of things in addition to, you know, mentoring younger people that are coming up in the next generation. I'm thinking, you know, about people in Oakland, people in San Diego, people in Texas, people in like New York, across the country that I've met. And so also using this show as a platform, you know, to have them come up and tell their story. I feel like that's an important thing for me going into this next year, this like idea or concept of mentorship.
That's what's up, man. Go ahead, Joe. Jump on in.
With me so deeply. So I got a call last week about being a supervisor with Bowie State University, which is first Black HBCU in Maryland. And thank you.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine because I got another opportunity, which I'll probably share with y'all in a couple of weeks. But both opportunities involve working with young people. So this, the Bowie State opportunity is supervising college seniors who are doing their practicums and their student teaching. So it's their final semester. They've got all the 50 million tests. They've got their, you know, theory stuff to complete, the practicum stuff to do. And so I'd be going in to observe them, give them feedback, meet with mentor teachers, meet with the principal, et cetera, and also mentor them and be a support system for them in this crazy, final semester. And so it's when you talk about like the importance of mentorship, I always say like, man, leading adults, connecting with adults and supporting adults in paradigm shifts and behavioral changes and all of that is way more challenging. And I think a harder piece to kind of move than working with, young people, adolescents, et cetera. And so I don't feel like I'm giving up like on adults. I think that there is still a part of me that can connect, but I think there's so many issues that come up, like with them flying the plane and building it at the same time. So it's like I have a full-time job. I'm already in this role. I've got all these mandates coming down from the state, the district, the city, the county, whoever. I've got my own personal life. And it's like, how do I manage creating space to think differently, or to engage in this conversation like authentically, right? Versus, children, right? Adolescents, young adults who may have more space to have the conversation and to consider new ways of thinking, So I'm beginning to think like, is this where I will find my flow? And will this flow end up like impacting young people, adolescents, children, and then eventually hitting adults? So when you say mentorship, I feel very strongly that I'm going to be doing a lot of that in 2024. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were jumping back in. Yeah, so it don't be penalty. We just gonna keep going. I think so.
Yeah.
So what type of mentor is it that you're looking for? Like to kind of get like, what would make that be like, yo, that was mass successful? What does success look like there?
Listen, when I think about my own personal life, I needed somebody in high school, and I had somebody dope in high school, right? Like in middle school, I had teachers who, they believed in me or whatever. But in high school is where I met, a teacher that was in charge of the co-op program, work one week, go to school the next, that kind of pulled me out of a ditch, And then college, when I got there and I met dude named Mike Black, who was a senior who put me on to how to schedule and not to take Friday classes, not to take 8 a.m. classes and how to network and all of that. And so I feel like for me, success would be, being able to connect with people and with adolescents in that age range, and help them, one, see themselves as, beyond capable, feel like they have a listening ear that's not judgmental, and that whatever our conversations are will build them up in their ability to make wise, helpful decisions for themselves and their future. Like to me, and I talk about this with my sons as well, it's like that level of responsibility, maturity, like independence and being able to critically think is super important. And I think that when we look at our future and think about like young people now, and there's so many things going around about Gen Zs and whatever, they're lazy, they can't think for themselves and all of that. I don't really believe that about this generation. I think we need to give them more and more opportunities to stand on their own 2 feet and make great decisions for themselves. And if they make a sucky one, they fall down, to teach them how to get back up and keep on going. So I'd love to be a part of that process for high schoolers and college students.
Yeah, mentorship can look a number of different ways, and I think the idea. There's one idea of mentorship that I've experienced as being the mentee, right? Where it wasn't even really designed to be like a formal like mentor-mentee partnership, but it was just somebody along the line who, more than likely could have been a friend, more than likely a teacher at some point, right? And for me, it wasn't until I got to college, community college, where I'd met a handful of professors, and then in college and university, same thing happened, right? These are people that not only showed that like that belief. They're like, we believe in you. We believe that you can be successful. But it also happened in a space primarily, it wasn't my like trigonometry teachers or my chemistry teachers. It was these are my teachers that I had through a coursework sequence that was embedded in Chicano Mexican American studies, right? And that's kind of where I got my like juice, right? Where I got turned on, and I was just like, boom, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go all the way, right? And it started early, and so like the idea of having Black studies, African American studies, gender studies, Asian American studies, Latino and Latinx studies available for people, especially in this time, given this like last year of all the stories that we've seen of schools, universities, and K-12 trying to pull these programs out of schools, is like the opportune time for people like us, I feel, to like continue to lean into that 100%, 110%. Because without that, like that kind of capsule, or that like what do you call it, like it was like a safe space for me to be who I was and to ask questions, and it was absolutely relevant to my history, right? I was like, I couldn't believe that I could take a U.S. history class, but learn U.S. history from a Chicano perspective. It was like mind blowing. I'm like, I want to do this with everything, and so I think for me, the piece there is like, in 2024, through our show or other work that we do, or me being a loudmouth on Twitter, continuing to fight for and validate the need to have conversations about race in our schools, programs that are designed around racial frameworks in our schools, and to have those hard conversations that a lot of people in 2023, 2024 don't want to have, right? Because it hurts people's feelings, right? So like, I'm over that. I'm like, we're going to have the conversation. We're going to talk about slavery. We're going to talk about the removal of the Native Americans. We're going to talk about, the American Southwest. We're going to talk about the experience of the Chinese that they had when they came to California. We're going to talk about all of it. We're going to talk about women's suffrage, because it's really not history. This stuff is like still kind of tapping on our back door.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up. Go ahead. You was jumping in.
My brain is going because I'm like, what if South Star Classroom like puts together something that's connected to like this kind of mentorship, right? Or adding like young adults and children and teens, or to our target audience in terms of the services that we provide. Even if it's I'm just thinking about like, how can we give back? Like, I know we always are talking to and about adults, right, and how they're impacting the lives of children, but it makes me think about the possibilities that we could possibly explore in 2024 as our own way of giving back directly to the babies that we're talking about, to the Black and brown kids that we're talking about, in a way that's really authentic to each of us,
Yeah, I mean, actually, what I was gonna say too. I think in the last few years, my work has started to get like pigeonholed a little bit. Like, I've been like the youth guy, or like, he teaches young people about agency, and that's not really like what I do, or like what I necessarily want to do. Like, I do agentic work, and young people are the catalyst that I utilize in that. But I believe in doing that at like a community level, right? Like on like there's a lot of people, like I just said, right? There's a lot of education that I got around survival, around, growing up in like some foul shit and making it through, but there was never anything around once you get there. And I think that, like, if you look at the news, it's like we praise people for authenticity until that authenticity is real authenticity, and then they become the worst people in the world, right? Like, I don't want to hear about Offset and Cardi B's marriage. I just don't. Like, I feel like if you really if you were just from a hood and you grew up around hood people, that's just a hood ass relationship. It's just it's just two hood people that's together and they doing hood shit. Like I don't understand. I feel like people are cosplaying as authentic black people, authentic black men, authentic black women, authentic brown men, authentic brown women. I think that like, but then something happens and they have a type of response, and I'm just confused because I'm like, I thought you from this thing. I don't understand. And then like I had somebody do a write-up on our work, on some work that we did, and they just took it upon themselves to be like, oh yeah, he focuses on BIPOC kids. And I'm sorry.
You did what?
Yeah, I do what? What do I do? No. For the people listening, listen, if you like to use that new terminology, God bless you. I have no thoughts. I have no judgment. For me and mine, I work with black people. I like working with black people. That's what I want to say. Black with me. Let's just do it. Let's say black together. Like if I got a Mexican homie and he wants to work with Mexican boys, I don't need him to be extra inclusive of everybody. Like do what you do. The same way if you a white cat from the Appalachia and you want to teach your own, like do that. Like I feel like we keep getting pushed into just.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. It's very weird. Say what? So go ahead, Jude. Say it again. I can hear you.
I said in the name of inclusivity and diversity.
Yeah.
You know,
but it really is watering. It's watering down the focus.
It's so watered down.
Yeah, and it homogenizes it. And it almost it starts you on that path towards like, well, aren't we living in a post, racism kind of reality? No, we're not. Racism is still here. It's stronger today than it's probably ever been. And so I agree. I think it's important. You have to be able to like identify based on how you identify and hold that, right?
Right.
Because it's not about compromising, but there is a certain amount of compromise when you start to widen the umbrella. Or the canopy or whatever. I mean, I think at a certain point and on some issues, there's probably a place and a time for that. We do it on the show all the time. But the issues that, and the Black community is not a monolith. The Latino community is not a monolith. So It's like, gets even more complicated. But, I agree with that 100%. There are a lot of people that just want to kind of chalk it up and move on.
Or it's easier to just group that. It's like, let's just do that. And then I've hit everybody. And it's like, first off, people of color, it's so like, what are you talking about right now? Like,
who are you talking about?
and when you do that, when there's a Black issue or a brown issue or a Hmong issue or whatever, and then you devalue it, like you said, you water it down when it becomes a person of color issue or a BIPOC issue. And we saw that in one of the biggest Supreme Court cases of all time this year, around Asians and how they felt about Harvard and affirmative action, and they won. Now that's not a BIPOC, that's not a people of color thing, and what that has done is sensationalize a lot of these conversations to just be fodder, but not actually having real work happening. And for one, don't need somebody that's representing me or trying to represent my community that's afraid to represent me or my community. If you're going to do that, then let's do that. There are things that you have to get into with that. And I think that, and it's okay if that's the terminology you like to use. You can use whatever you want. Like, I am about inclusivity. I am about you feeling comfortable and confident, but you're not going to bully me into calling myself something that I don't really want to. And I respect your right to do what you need to do, but you're going to have to respect mine. And I think that this stuff goes with critical thinking skills that I think that we are losing and lacking. Man. And everybody is hungry and everybody smells chum in the water. And an example of that is, I don't know if you all saw this. We talked about, the affirmative action thing. Hopefully you can hear it. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but I'll turn it up loud just in case you can't. But let's tell me your reactions to this, because I thought it was very interesting. Oh, you actually don't need to hear it, so it works out. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear the music. Yeah.
He's not saying nothing, so it's all good.
It's sad music.
Well, so I'll give it a voiceover. That's pretty much it, right? But like, it's basically this kid who applied to Cornell, had all these great things, like, you know, this stuff, and he got rejected. And he said, if you couldn't hear, he said he's looking. Everybody that's been to college has been through this. You sitting there, in our day, you probably got the package in the mail. Now you can check online. You're opening that thing or you're checking, and it says you got in or you didn't get in. And he got rejected. And his father, which I think also gets missed out in this, because I think his dad was like, okay, like basically like, okay, we on to the next. Like, you applied to Cornell. It's a really dope school, very difficult to get into, but you didn't get in. What then happened was somebody took that and they made it fodder for just the racial talk hunger. And then people start eating this kid up. They thought that the way that it was presented was as if this young man was saying he didn't get into this school because he's white, because it feeds into this right-wing narrative about like affirmative action and things taken away from, white kids or whatever the case was. Also, it was another white person that did this. This was white on white crime. This was not
savage.
Exactly. It had nothing to do with us. I'm just telling you, it didn't. But I shared it because I'm like, oh, this might be interesting, because if that's what happened, right, we got a lot to say. So all these people from around the world are like commenting on it. The kid finds the original poster, sends a DM, and just like, hey man, can you please take that down? Because out of context, it looks like something that I did not say. And the white dude like lectures him, which was like some wild shit. Like, I don't know if y'all ended up seeing it, but
no.
But I want to just say this, and because listen, I applied to schools. I got rejected from a lot of schools. Like, I didn't have his credentials or whatever, but it's a part of life. And the kid handled it the way a kid handles it. He had his father there. We just heard David talking about what he's preparing his son for, whether with high school, and he's going to have to go through a similar situation. I mean, hopefully your boy gets into every school he applies to, David. Hopefully your boy is getting to every school they apply to, Jubilee, right? But it's life. It's such as life. But instead of having a real moment where people could be like, yo, this kid handled it pretty decent, his dad did a really good job, it turned into this, sharks in the water.
Yeah,
black against white, brown versus white, these people against white or whatever, and it's just a kid having like
a regular kid moment that was
just
not
having a moment, right? And it's just, but everything is fodder on the internet, and this is what
everything,
I mean.
Man.
It's like, where's our critical thinking? Where's our humanity in this stuff? Because again, we care too much about celebrities, and at the same time we dehumanize them. So everybody now with social media is a celebrity on some level. So celebrities are not human. They got good lives, and you read the Inquirer and do stuff like that. And then situations like this where a child is just trying to like process some stuff and sharing it or whatever the case was. That kid just got dehumanized, man. And I'm not down for that. Like, I don't have a problem with having some fun at people's expense. Because I would have been even hotter, and I'm gonna just be honest and transparent. If that was a black boy or a black girl and that happened to them, I would have been even more hot. And that's probably not right either, that I would be more, but such is life. I'm not gonna lie about it. So it just as we going over reflections, I just feel like that happens a ton. And I'll pull up the tweet while you all jump in, but just give me your thoughts on that. I'm just curious, because when I shared it as content for us to go through, and then I dug in deeper, I felt like an asshole. I'm like, yo, wait, that kid didn't even before the other thing came out, I said in our group chat, like, actually, that kid didn't say nothing like what that headline said. He didn't say anything. Right. He's just disappointed and sad. And I'm more upset at myself. But what's your thoughts when you all saw it? Well, what's your thoughts when you saw it and initially and even now?
I mean, I kind of dug in myself when I saw it, and I immediately saw that the video was deleted. That's always a red flag in this generation of red and green flags, right? Like, so as I continue to go down the rabbit hole, you know, that's what I discovered, right? And then when you sent what you sent, Charles, I was like, oh, that's exactly why, because there's something clownish about it. Somebody did something clownish, and that's
Hmm.
why, you know, it ended up, you know, getting deleted. But I think, you know, the fact that the person who wanted to take it and run with it added race to make it a hot topic tells us a lot about where we still are, like as a country, like, right, like, yes, affirmative action, that whole ruling was about 6 months ago, and people are still trying to make a point about, you know, this whole thing. So I mean, I agree, like, is there any way for us to be able to move forward from stuff like this? I mean, are we always going to be a country that has these issues with race?
I mean,
Yeah,
I got an answer for it.
and
I just
and
say that's
and
very,
the,
very
and they're
rhetorical.
completely like these like social media camps. The social media is just wild in 2023, and it's going to be crazier next year. But like, you know, like Charles says, you have the situation with this young man, um, and then it gets turned into something to push divisiveness, right?
Yes.
And the craziest thing is, like, you know, I mean, this is like, it's basically modern warfare, right?
mhm.
It's like culture war. Like, who knows, the person that created, you know, this campaign, they could have been, like, you know, Russian or something. You know, who knows? Like that like those things have happened. So it's about race in this country, but it's also about the proliferation of these tech tech tools that we have now in social media to shift the way that people think about reality, when in reality it's may not be the reality.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you have to learn how to, like, sift through all of it. You know, and there's nothing wrong with the state university system in New York. It's a great system, right? So Cornell wasn't a go. You know, I think yeah, I don't know about, I mean, unless you get a full ride, you know, going to a private school is going to set you back several hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, the show that we did on college a couple weeks ago, we did two of them. It's got me thinking a lot more about state college, right? State college, state college.
And let's be real too, though, right? I mean, looking at what this kid accomplished, he
He's
still could have applied.
Yeah.
gonna be fine.
Listen, man. You applied to Cornell. Look, he's fine. I'm not talking about him. Just for people out there, these one, I will say that if you are a legacy, you have a much better chance of getting in, and if you donate a statue and all these places or whatever the case is. But
Yeah.
there's levels to this. Just you didn't their acceptance rate is very low. Like, that's part of the prestige of the place, supposedly, or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
He ain't about to get sent to community college. He can still apply to a bunch of, you just didn't get your first choice. Hey, man.
Yeah.
And I never got to, and he's fine. I'm not getting at the kid. I never got to date Janet Jackson. Like, we all lose in life. I'm just saying it happens. Like, you know, and Janet, I don't care how old you are, it's forever, as long as you're breathing.
Still got more life for you.
It does. Listen, it don't matter forever. You know what I'm saying? But nah, man, it just was so interesting. Here's the joint. I'll make it bigger so we can actually, so you all can see it. But I'll read it, because he hit this kid up, man. The kid, poor kid, yo. He said, "I'm the person in the video you posted about. My life has been turned inside out because of this whole scenario. I didn't say it was because of race. If anything, it was my extracurriculars ability to spell out a story of what I wanted to do. I'm begging for you to take down this post because it has completely jeopardized my future." Then the person, I don't know. I think this person was a white dude that wrote it. I don't know. Let me not make the same mistake he did, because I can't see John's little avatar. I mean, the other guy's avatar. I'm sorry.
The guy who posted it. Yeah.
Yeah, Josh. I'm assuming Josh Leacock is not black, but I don't know. We'll see. He said, "Hi, John. I want to let you know that I'm taking down my post now. I hope you realize that you need to be careful about what you post online in the future. My post was meant to be satirical and humorous, but unfortunately, you can't control how people perceive things online. However, you should not let the negative comments of some people online affect your future prospects. These comments are insignificant in the grand scheme of things, and people move on quickly from one thing to the next. Remember, your future is in your hands, and you alone have the power to shape it. I sincerely Wish you all the best and lots of success. I fucking hate social media.
They're like they're insignificant if they're not directed towards you, right?
I hate it. Listen, man, it's like, dude, like, and those are good points outside of this circumstance. You did it. What you mean? You did it.
Yeah, he's getting attacked. He's like, it'll this too shall pass.
Get a hobby and get a life. You flipped it for some clickbait. Like, what I wrote on my little paper next to me? The National Enquirer. Like, social media reminds me of National Enquirer. It's whatever. Did you see 23 million either hits or views or whatever is on that thing you just put up? So you allowed this to go that far, right? Like, and I hope that your correction, even though it wasn't a correction, it really was a lie and you flipped it, right? I hope it reached that far as well when you put that out. But like, this is what makes me so, again, passionate to teach kids like, hey, please don't lose your critical thinking skills. Develop your critical thinking skills. Develop your ability to inquire, to ask questions, and not just take everything for face value. Like, this is why I think there's probably older people that are like, this generation, they just dumb. We're just gonna all die, because is anybody reading? Is anybody leading with inquiry? Is anybody critically thinking like, this might not be true, right? Like, just because you see a title, a headline, doesn't make it true, right? And I talk to my sons about this too, because I'm like, yo, you saw something on TikTok, doesn't make it true. You need to go down the rabbit hole and do your own research until you find a reliable source, as reliable as it can be, that verifies the information you're reading is real and true, authentic and correct.
But the way, I agree with you, but the way bruh posted it, like, the guy that did it posted it because he got to get more clout. He got to get more attention. And it's funny because he posted like he was just right. Like he just ate. Like everybody was going to be like
somebody something.
Here's the thing though, right? How mad should I be at him versus how mad should I be at myself? Is it who's worse? The person that threw the chum or the people that ate it? So like, you know what I'm saying? I think there's a cyclical nature about it. I just said all that to say, like, I don't just teach young people. I wanted to.
Who do you want to help, Charles? Who do you want to help?
This is interesting. So let's assume this guy's views on TikTok were upwards of 25 million or whatever. So 25 million views on TikTok will get you an average approximately $750, right? So I'm like, this guy's like, he's pocketing, just near $1,000, and essentially it's like destroyed this guy's life. Congratulations, social media.
But here's the thing, right? So people are still hurting and reeling from that affirmative action case, that they were hungry for this, like they was ready, and and people had their comments set up to kind of go, and it's just like, look, these pendulum swing and they overcorrect very hard and harshly. I just feel like, listen, man, so I don't know, when you ask me about what I want to do for 2024 or 23 or whatever the case is, man, I want to just do something meaningful that actually helps people that I care about, or have real conversations, or like I really just feel like everything is surface, like everything is like done for edification of other people. It is like we have turned our lives into a stock market. Like, is your stock up today or down? Meaning, did you get a lot of likes today? Did you get a lot of this? And I just feel like it's going to be really, really tough. Not just on the people that's here, but kids. There are people that are born in this. Like, this is the only way they know how the world works. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's like, yo, should I still be as focused on literacy and math, or should I just be focused on like common sense? Like, is it like the lemons game from when I was a kid, and like you can push one lemon off the bridge and then the rest of the lemons will go and walk off the cliff as well? Some of y'all might not know the lemons game, but I thought it was a really cool game when I was in school. You never seen lemons? You never played that? It was
no.
Jubilee.
You're on your own.
Jubilee.
You're on your own.
Seen it. You didn't get Oregon Trail and all that good stuff, David.
I did. I loved Oregon Trail.
I said David.
I loved Oregon Trail.
I said David. I don't know what computers was looking like if they was in schools when David was there. I don't think it was there.
Wagon. You had to
Yes.
get it. I enjoyed that so much.
Yes, it was 3 games. It was Oregon Trail, it was Lemons, and Prince of Persia. Those were the games that I had on the computer in the classroom.
Okay, gotcha. I think we only had Oregon.
But anyway, like I said, I know this was a lot more unstructured. We didn't have just a central topic, man. But I really but this is why I do appreciate today. One, I got to connect with y'all more on a friend level. I got to hear more about what you valued this year and what you're trying to do for next year. I think, we still testing out things and gonna get this format down. But what I really want in 2024 is for us to, continue to hit our groove and like, how do we take these issues and have real conversations with them, right? Like, not just, we all know the right things to say. We all know what the zeitgeist for where we particularly stand in the world. We know how to protect that space. We know how to here are these things. Let me run and make sure I check off all these boxes in my answers and stuff like that. But I really want to create a speaking space and a talking space where we get to be friends. We get to push each other. We get to have a good time. And we really get to be critical or honest. I want people to feel like they're in our living room. I want people to start grabbing a drink when we come on and participating and partaking. So that's my final thought, and my wrap up on this. So one of y'all will end up taking us out. I'm gonna, designate the beard of knowledge / the beard of wisdom. I still can't remember which one it is, by the way. So I just say them both. 100+ episodes. Can't remember. That's my brain. But Jubilee, we want you to go first so you can get back to paradise and tell moms we said hello and thank her for letting us borrow you for an hour.
They're saying hello. She's coming to say hello. She gonna be part of my final thought.
It's all good. Don't tell your mama to hurry up. What's wrong with you? Don't do that.
You can't talk to your mother like that.
Oh my gosh, she knows what I mean.
Jubilee, this is why your parents love me. They both love me. I'm just telling you. How you doing, Mrs. Mama Jubilee? How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
We're doing well.
Final thought.
Great.
Have anything you want to share with them? My mom pretty much watches every single episode or catches up. So do you have anything you want to share do you have anything you want to say about the South Star Classroom?
I love your show. Your topics are great. Just keep them coming.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
ma'am. You got it.
And tell your daughter to stop picking on us. She's kind of a bully in these shows sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And so it's all good. Is that and Mama Jubilee, you are always welcome, by the way, and you look stunning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
My mom is a supervisor at a city college. So
there you go.
College episodes, she can join us too because she deals with students firsthand. She got a lot of thoughts.
That's what's up.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much, Mama Jubilee.
But no, here's my final thought, right? I want us to be able to come on here, mommy, and talk about the difference that we're making, and I think that's maybe how 2024 will be different. And I'm really serious about what I said earlier in terms of figuring out what mentorship looks like, or us really connected with our target audience, not just for this show, but just in real life. How are we, helping to develop the generation of our next generation of leaders and teachers and doctors and lawyers and engineers and whatever. I feel really passionate about that, and I think that we all have something special to give to Black kids and to brown kids. So I'm really curious about it, and that's really it. That's really it. And I'm gonna be singing, and I need y'all to support, and stream our music and stuff like that, because I'm gonna be even more intentional about that.
Good.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Great.
We'll change the intro song to one of Jubilee's if it's fire. That's Go ahead, brother.
All right. I think so. For my closing thoughts, I want to look back onto. I'm thinking about the show. I'm thinking about the impact that we have, in the show, and that the greater impact that we can have going into 2024. I thought we did a show earlier in the year on AI. We were probably one of the first education podcasts to jump into AI and ChatGPT, right when it was first coming out. And a lot's changed in the field. Now there's literature, people are writing about it. It's becoming more mainstream, but I appreciate the fact that we were not afraid to kind of jump into that topic and have that conversation. That still is one of my my favorite episodes. And then I think number two, when I think about impact, I think about the show that we did about Temecula Unified School District. And we had one of the co-founders of a political PAC there that was fighting for a recall for like 3 kind of right-wing school board members, and we used our platform to amplify the voice of that community that feels like what's happening there is wrong. And so 2 updates on that, and not the result of our show, but like we are part of this like storyline. I don't know if you saw, but today there was a piece that came out. The ACLU and more than 20 other civil rights organizations back a lawsuit by California's Attorney General against the district, because the district has been trying to, remove opportunities for young people to learn about race, about issues around gender, all of those things that we talk about. And so, that's happening right now. The ACLU and 20 other groups, LGBTQ plus groups, issued an amicus brief to halt the enforcement of the district's policies that censor instruction on race and gender, as well as its policy that requires employees to notify parents if their child shows signs of being transgender. And so, those are like very controversial subjects. I think we came out on the right side around the critical race theory component of that. And then one last update there is that, in Temecula, there were 3 board members that had been elected as this kind of like right-wing, quote unquote, parent rights slate. And one of them has resigned ever since. So you're starting to see like little progress there. There's tens of thousands of children that attend those schools. And so if we can be a part of that dialogue, if we can be a part of amplifying those kinds of voices, I'm all for it. So those are my closing thoughts.
Oh, and that episode was by far our biggest.
We did good on that one.
It's 55 hours watched on that episode from what we had. But anyway, Omar, we love you. Can't wait to see you in the new year. I hope y'all all have an amazing new year. I know everybody don't celebrate everything, but I celebrate these things. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. May God bless you all and your families. Y'all be safe, and I will see 3 of my favorite people when the new year starts. And my phone is on, and I'm here if any of you need me. With that being said, Omar is with us in spirit because he couldn't be here today. That's David. That's Jude. I'm Charles, and we will see you all in the new year. Peace out.